You're watching GTV, and now it's time for this morning's edition of Children's GBC with your presenter, George Buxton, on a Friday morning for a change. Good morning, everybody. Well, I don't know about you, but here we are on this fine Friday morning of Children's GBC. Well, if you were wondering, why am I here in a different location for a Friday? It's because obviously it's a bit of a change-up, really, because the first full progress, and I'm only going to be here for quite a little while. It's only just until I use this as a teleporter to teleport myself back to my own place, so that way I can finish it off there. So that's later on, of course. So, anyways, the first program to begin with now, it's going to be Charlie Chalk, and in which Arnold is having a night out. Well, despite their going treasure hunting, though, with Duckless Duck. And anyways, here's today's episode of it.
Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, got a funny way of walking and a wacky way of talking. Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, oh Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk. He can get you out of trouble, he can teach you how to juggle. That's Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk, yeah Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk. He rode a boat to sea. Charlie Chalk, oh Charlie Chalk, Charlie Chalk. Landed on an island, now he's living in the jungle. Everybody comes around to see him clown and watch him tumble.
And that was Charlie Chalk. Yeah, mind you. Well, I'm so glad that Arnold and Douglas have said sorry to each other. Well, despite the fact that Arnold just keeps squashing him. Yeah, so that's what happens when Duck was meeting an elephant being squashed. But I'm glad they're friends as well. And plus, Charlie, I think Arnold has found a treasure in the end. So anyways, let's move on to the next program now. So the next program is that I remember as a kid. Well, here's today's episode of Playdays. At this time, we're at the 10th stop, in which there's a story about farm working around there. So this is called Right Time. And this is indeed the right time to be broadcasting this episode of Children's GBC. So why don't you join Poppy, Peggy, Patch, and the other two presenters, which I don't know of, and I'm sure that they'll help you learn all about farm work, and it's all about planting corns. Well, you'll find out as you watch this. Enjoy.
But where does it go? Where does it stop? Watch from Silas the Lollipop. Stop! It's the 10th stop.
I don't want to look at a farm book. I'd like to go to a real farm now.
Oh, look! There's Wade Bird. She's waiting for us on the bus. Come on, Peggy, quick!
She's here at last. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye!
Come on, Poppy. Come on, Peggy.
This way.
And that was Playdays. Yeah, because mind you, I mean, it's all fun and games over when you join all those characters that you know and love from the 90s. Well, especially with Poppy, Wybird, and Peggy Patch. And I'm sure that there'll be some more episodes of Playdays, which is starting tomorrow morning. Yeah, because you see, we now do Playdays in the morning as such. It's because normally at a 10 o'clock slot, because you usually get Playdays from Children's BBC in the 90s. So yeah, that was Playdays anyway. So the next programme, it's going to be Joshua Jones, and it's all going a bit of a haywire today, in which Joshua Jones had to help the farmer just to get all those hay bales onto the boat. So it's just to make sure it's all dry, because horses can get sick if they eat them really wet. Anyways, let's find out.
Some people live in the country, the waterside, or any place the water flows. La 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 la, 'cause that's the life we know.
And that was Joshua Jones. Yeah, mind you, I'm glad that the hay bales aren't very safe. Well, apart from the fact that Spanner just accidentally fell in a puddle when he got surprised by that noise. And it looks like he preferred going to work now. Ha! Yeah, that's so funny. So the next programme, and sadly this is the last programme that I will be broadcasting here before I use this sort of teleporter to teleport me back to my own place for where I shall finish it off here. But don't worry, this is not actually the last ever time to do it yet. Besides, we may have already had the same thing with George's GTV when we had to cancel it, but George's GBC, well, we'll continue onwards. So, now before I use this, here's the next programme, and it'll be Bodger and Badger, and in today's episode it's called Portrait of Hector. And now it's time for me to say goodbye, and I will see you after this programme. Well, see you later, and teleporter activate.
Oh my goodness, where on earth did George Buxton go? Anyway, as George Buxton said, here's Bodger and Badger.
Everywhere he goes, Bodger always knows. Badger is Badger, he's never far away. Bodger and Badger, la 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 la, Badger never far away. Everybody knows, Badger loves mashed potatoes. He makes them into shapes and eats them every day. Bodger and Badger, la 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 la. Bodger and Badger, Bodger.
So,
Say, Bodger and Badger, la 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 la. Everywhere he goes, Bodger always knows. Badger makes him never far away. Bodger and Badger, la 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 la. Bodger and Badger are never far away.
Whoa! Well, viewers, I don't know about you. Two things. One, and that was Bodger and Badger. Yeah, because I know that sometimes that Badger is not very good at rolling the dough, but I think he got that better, got the hang of it. And as for the portrait, well, it turned out a little bit too badly. And two, I'm so glad to be back here in this place of mine again. Yeah, because mind you, we have never done the teleporting thing before on Children's GBC, and of course, sadly, we didn't do that on Children's FTV, well, never mind Children's GTV as well. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to finish it off here. Now, because I know it's not because that this is a final time to be doing it. It's just because we only did it as a one-off, and if we feel like if we want to do that again, well, I'm sure that will be fine with me. So anyway, coming up next on Children's GBC, it's time to head over to PC Pinkerton. And I think it's all about rain and sometimes road safety as well. Let's go and join him right now.
Now here's a policeman that you all know well, with Sergeant Walker and Inspector Bell. They're always about, watching out, walking, cycling or driving a car. He'll be there, maybe Slipper as well. You might need him one day in the early hours when the day is dawning and most folk are asleep. There's a figure riding through the misty morning, bringing safety to our streets. It's PC Pinkerton.
was PC Pinkerton. Yep, because he sure is a friendliest policeman with his colleagues, such as I can't remember what the name is. But anyways, let's move on to the next program. The next program that we're going to have is Gran. Now, that's another classic that comes from Ivor Wood, who produced a television series of Postman Pat, Charlie Chalk, and then I said Bertha. So obviously that's about 4 shows being created. But of course, not only those 4, sometimes the Wombles. So anyways, Gran is right here on Children's GBC right now. Now, let's see what she's up to today.
Hello, Gran, how are you? How'd you feel today? I just came by to see if I could be of help in any way. I always like to come and spend my time with you. We somehow seem to think of something great to do.
And that was Gran. Yeah, because, mind you, it was such a windy day for Gran, because she never usually had a windy day, well, since she was a girl back then. But anyways, I'm so glad that her grandson is just came to see if she was all right. And of course, it does happen in every episode. So, anyways, coming up next on Children's GBC, it's time to head over to the heliport now to meet Budgie, the little helicopter. And in today's episode, Pepper arrived.
Budgie's a little helicopter. He is brave, a little hero. Budgie and friends are always working hard together. Pip and Chuck and Lionel in a new adventure. Budgie! Rocketing rotors!
And that was Budgie, the little helicopter. Well, I would like to be saying that I'm so glad that Pepper is now part of the crew. Very good though. Yeah, but I do know that Pepper is also a best friend of Budgie's. And that's Budgie is a helicopter who was given a name by none other than the princess herself, obviously. So anyways, here we go with the last program now, and it's Chuckle Vision as they are clowning around. That's something to do with the circus. So let's go over to Rotherham now to see the Chuckle Brothers at the circus. To me, to you, to me, to you. Yeah.
Here we are, Bunny.
Why, thank you, my chuckly chums. Anyway, don't forget that Chuckle Brothers will be back again later on this afternoon as George Buxton will be presenting some programs of it, including Chuckle Vision. Anyway, so I'm sure that I will come up with a conclusion in a few minutes. Carry on singing. We hope you enjoyed Chuckle Brothers today. Yeah, because they sure like to clown around. Because, I mean, after all, they become TV clowns in those days, since 1987 all the way to the last season, which I forgot which number. But whatever it is, well, I'm so glad that the Chuckle Brothers went very well. Well, despite a wet ending for a start. It's just because, well, the no slacking man has already done his own version of Singing in the Rain, and it was made famous by the great Gene Kelly. Yep. And of course, now after I've done the conclusion, which is we are on right now, we will be having our morning film of Singing in the Rain, and that is speaking of which. So, anyways, don't forget, George Brent, however, will be back again later on this afternoon to present some more programs for our younger viewers in mind. So, coming up, and so it's time for me to say this is George Buxton signing off. Well, goodbye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Well, actually, I will see you on Monday. And also, George Brent will be here later on this afternoon. So don't miss it. Bye bye. You're watching GTV. And now, for this Friday morning, here is our morning film for today. Now, because that we have Gene Kelly, Donald O'Connor, and Debbie Reynolds, and which talking pictures are introduced. And so, here we go with this ultimate movie classic from the 1950s. And it's none other than Singing in the Rain.